FMC connects you to experts about crop protection and agronomic insights. Join Jake Turner for another conversation sure to be worth your time.
Eric, let's dive in a little bit deeper into the Rynaxypyr and Cyazypyr active ingredients, and what is it that makes these active ingredients so unique?
Sure, Jake, I'd be glad to. And I'm always excited to talk about it. So I was fortunate to be in the field as a research scientist from the beginning, from discovery. So I've got to, I've had the opportunity to see from discovery, development, commercialization. So they are unique as a class, as a diamide class, a group 28, but they're unique within themselves as well. So I don't know, I'm going to start off and talk a little bit about what makes them similar and some commonality between the two. Obviously they're a new mode of action, the same mode of action, a novel mode of action. But what really changed and what I saw firsthand in some cotton work that I was doing is the step change, and not just a little change, but a dramatic change in delivering efficacy that we had never seen before on worm pest and also residual control. The other thing that it brought into the toolbox was another tool for IPM to manage insects that may be developing resistance, but also an IPM tool that preventing flaring from other insect pests such as aphids and mites. So from an IPM perspective, both have a very positive role and as a tool as we use them. The other thing that both have is just application flexibility, soil application, foliar application, and even within those two groups, various different ways from drench to in furrows in the soil application to shank. You go foliar and you can do a typical foliar application ground by air, but we'll also have chemigation. So there's some very unique characteristics that they have. And I'm not going to elaborate much, but just the environmental and ecotox profile is unique, and both are reduced risk at EPA. So those are some things that they have in common, but they are different. Rynaxypyr is a targeted LEP material. It was the first that we developed, and very unique in itself that it controls almost every LEP that's out there. So it's very broad spectrum in that sense, but it's very narrow spectrum in that it controls pretty much only LEPs. You go to Cyazypyr, the difference there is it's more cross spectrum. So it has the LEP activity, but also piercing, sucking insects. And not only is it important to control them just from the damage they do to the crop, but these piercing, sucking insects are often what transfer vector, diseases, viruses, tomato spotted leaf curl virus, and some of the viruses that are transferred over, from insect vectors.
Brian and John, feel free to weigh in. Are there other factors that you think are particularly unique? Brian?
I think to Eric's point, one of the biggest factors that is important to growers is that ability not to have a negative impact on the beneficial insects in their crop. I think a lot of growers, even the growers that don't practice IPM knowing that they do, are getting the benefits of IPM out of these products, because they do preserve that environment out there for those insects, beneficial insects, to help mitigate problems down the line.
And John, anything else you'd like to weigh in on that?
Jake, what I think, there's a lot of things that make these molecules unique, but two things that I would focus on would be the reduced risk registration status we have with these molecules. And so they're very safe from a handling and usage standpoint. So to be able to have that kind of a profile, but also get the residual and the efficacy we're talking about, that's very unique. The other thing I would point to is unique to Cyazypyr. We talk about those pests that vector diseases. And one of the attributes of Cyazypyr is rapid feeding cessation. And so when you deploy Cyazypyr, it shuts those insects down very quickly from feeding. And so hours are critical when you're trying to protect that crop, especially early on in the life cycle. So getting Cyazypyr out there at the right time early in that crop will shut those insects down from feeding and ultimately lead to a better crop, more profitability, more marketable yield. And that's what we're after at the end of the day, is helping the grower achieve that.
Be sure to tune into the next chapter to learn more about the diamide class of chemistry from FMC. Till next time, keep it on the upside.